This is 4.6 part 4. It is a bit of a longer lesson only because there's quite a few examples here, and I'm trying to go slowly so everyone can understand the concept. Some of you may have moved through it more quickly just because you're already very good with the factoring. We had finished off on question B from 4 in the last video. We were asking for the break-even points for the company, which is basically just asking when is the profit zero? When are you not earning? When are you not making a profit? When are you not losing money? And that's when your factored form, you have zeros. So we're asking for your zeros. And so what we did is we found the first zero. So when is this bracket here equal to 0? Because 0 times this bracket would give you 0 overall profit. And we did that, and we found that that happens when x is equal to half, or 0.5. And then we're going to continue to find the 0 for the other bracket. So I'm just isolating from my x value. I'm just doing 2x minus 9 plus 9. I'm just setting the 9 to the other side, as some of you would say it. And then I do 0 plus 9, because what I do to one side I have to do to the other is equal to 9. And so I would get 2x is equal to 9. Then I would divide by 2, divide by 2, then I would get x is equal to 9 over 2, which is 4.5. And so my zeros, my break-even points, so I would write therefore my break-even points, so you would write that out, the break-even points are at x is equal to 0.5 and x is equal to 4.5. Now, what I want you to get is that this doesn't mean that I've sold 0.5 games and 4.5 games. This means that I've sold 0.5 times 100,000 and 4.5 times 100,000, because x is the number of games sold in 100,000s. So if I had x is equal to 1, that's 100,000. X is equal to 2, that's 200,000. Okay? So remember to read the question carefully. Same thing with profit. If I get p is equal to 1, that doesn't mean I earned $1. P is equal to 1 would mean I have millions of dollars, $1 million. P is equal to 2 would mean $2 million. So you have to read that question carefully before you interpret the answer. So for questions C and D, what is the maximum profit that the company can earn? And I want you to get that we're dealing with parabolas here. I need you to understand where we're coming from. We have a parabola that opens from the bottom. Right, we can tell that because we have that negative there. And so we're asking you, what is this peak here? And you need to know the parts of parabola to get that. We're really asking you for the vertex. So convert it into parabola terms. We have our two zeros. We know that to find your vertex, your x value for your vertex, you're going to take your two zeros, you're going to add them together, 0.5 plus 4.5. And remember, that's because the vertex x value is in between both zeros. So we have 0.5 over here and 4.5 over here. And we're going to divide this by 2. And so we're going to get x is equal to 0.5 plus 4.5 is 5 over 2. And so that means that our x is 2.5. So what we found here is the x value where we have our maximum profit. We found the number of games we need to sell to get the maximum profit. That's what we found. So in reality, we actually found D. We found x is equal to 2.5. That's what we found. So the questions are a bit out of order, but you need to interpret that. Now again, this doesn't mean that we have to sell 2.5 games. Remember, x in the question was in 100,000s. So what that means is that the number of games is going to be equal to the 2.5 times 100,000, because each X value represents 100,000. And so that would be 250,000. So therefore, 250,000 games would have to be sold to reach that maximum profit. Now, we still didn't really answer question C. We're asking, what is the maximum profit the company can earn? We found that that maximum profit happens when X is equal to 2.5. So what we need to do is, we need to go and figure P out, profit out, when we replace X by 2.5. So we're going to write P is equal to negative 2X minus 1, 2X minus 9. And we're going to figure out what P is when X is 2.5. So we're going to have is equal to minus 2 times 2.5, because we're replacing our X there, put it in brackets, minus 1 over here, brackets 2 times 2.5 minus 9. Let's go clean that up. So minus 2 times 2.5 is 5, minus 1. 2 times 2.5 is 5, minus 9, which is going to be equal to minus 5 minus 1 is 4, 5 minus 9 is minus 4. And when you multiply all that together, in the end you get 4 times minus 4 is negative 16 times negative 1. That's going to be 16. But just to write that out, we get minus negative 16. And that's going to be equal to P is equal to 16. So this does not mean that the maximum profit is $16. That would not be very good for this company. Look at the question. The question says that P is profit in millions of dollars. So each unit is a million. So if we had 1 again, that's 1 million. 2, that's 2 million. 3, that's 3 million. So you're taking this P and multiplying it by a million. So we know that the amount of money earned, therefore, the max profit is $16 million. So in this question, we were given the standard form to represent the profit for a company. We were asked to express the relation in factored form. And sometimes I might not ask you to do that. I might just go straight to questions B, C, and D, and you need to know to go to factored form first to solve things like break-even points. And break-even points simply means what are your zeros. For maximum profits, you should know that usually means your vertex. Now, the profit itself is the Y value because that's what we have over here. P is our profit, our Y value. What we found here was the X value where that profit happens. That's why if you left this as X is equal to 2.5, it would not be the correct answer, because what you found is the number of games that you need. So this is your X is equal to 2.5 over here. Number of games you need to reach this amount of money over here. So what you really found when you did this first step was how many games you need to sell. And that's 2.5, but you know that that's in 100,000, so you have to do 2.5 times 100,000. In reality, for question C, to solve this, you would say, okay, I reach my maximum profit when I sell 2.5 units or games or along those lines. I plug this 2.5 into my profit formula, and that gives me the maximum profit I can earn when I've sold 2.5 games. P is equal to 16. And again, you just need to remember from the question that that means $16 million. So the important thing here is knowing how to factor, knowing what the different parts of a parabola mean, knowing how factored forms and standard forms and different forms tell you different parts of parabola, but also reading the question carefully and interpreting it carefully as well. So at this point, I'd encourage you to retry these practice problems. I know there's a lot of parts to these videos, but we go over them slowly so you understand them. If there were any questions that you had or anything you were unclear about in terms of the types of factoring, make sure you go back and review your previous notes, and also take a look at the appendix video, which will be posted with a flow chart that summarizes the different types of factoring that you might see in these different styles of questions. Don't forget to try your homework from the course outline, and please feel free to research other videos and other questions for challenges or just for more practice.